Another day, another dollar, right? Something like that. We're going to be watching the Destiny on Piers Morgan. I watched a few clips of this, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I know, I've been watching some of the shit going on with Destiny as far as, like, the Fox News and the thing last night, which is just comic fucking gold. But I guess the preface I have for this, oh, I thought Anna Kasperi. Oh wait, this is on Trump shooting. Is there not one on the Piers Morgan channel?
These people have.
Jesus, how many times a day does he post? I guess there's not one on Piers Morgan yet. There's just the one on Destiny's channel.
These people have.
Build a website you love.
But
with Wix.
No, I think the political rhetoric, especially right now in the U.S., is getting a little. I shouldn't say getting a little bit. It has been increasingly getting more and more fiery in the past 8 years, and I think that it's basically been slowly creeping up. And now that I feel like it's almost like quote unquote come to a head, I don't think it's come to a head. I think that it's going to continue to escalate because one side is actively encouraging it constantly over and over and over again, as the president, vice president, everybody in his cabinet, the attorney general threatening to go after that one shop that wouldn't print the Charlie Kirk stuff. I didn't dig into that, so that's a grain of salt. Everything post Charlie Kirk has just been kind of insane. So
be able to grow old with Charlie because someone fired a bullet at Charlie Kirk that said, "Hey, fascist, catch." And when you ask people
That's
about
not even
it,
the
they
bullet
say,
that was fired.
"Oh,
how are you lying about this?
Shut
even?
up, Destiny.
Holy
shut up.
You're so
Shut
shameless,
up.
dude.
You can't even condemn the cold-blooded
Because
execution
I can't.
of Charlie
Donald Trump
Kirk.
turns on Destiny
I don't think you're in the
YouTube,
position
and
to
he says, "I
demand
wonder what
anything from
Destiny's saying
anybody.
on YouTube. That's how I'm going to take my.
You're
my
not in any position
really
to do
far.
things.
It doesn't matter. You have a huge audience.
The teases.
Because of the fact that you have a huge audience.
Destiny, you've been quite active on social media since Charlie Kirk.
So Piers Morgan, Jack Desoviak, however you pronounce that. This guy is just pretty much a Russian plant. If he could fit Putin's dick inside of his body any more than he already has, he probably would. And is just basically an American flesh suit for Russian propaganda. I recognize this guy. I've seen him in a lot of different things. He just is he chain smokes a lot. I just remember like almost every like interaction I've seen with him, he's always smoking. And I feel like he just regurgitates, like, I shouldn't say regurgitate stuff. I feel like he gets into a lot of like semantical arguments. Anna Kasparian, who is on the awesome conversion from far left grifter and has just done the horseshoe theory, and now she's right on that right wing grifter. You know, nothing comes in these kind of debates, so many people screaming over each other. True, but they're entertaining. And then Destiny, who just pretty much autistically is participating in as many of these debates as humanly possible.
Death when Erica Kirk.
I guess that's an interesting thing. Like, do any of these debates, because like what would move the needle forward or backward, right? It's like, obviously it needs to be a top-down approach from Democratic and Republican leadership. And one side, obviously there is that approach. Democratic leadership again and again and again and again will bow their heads and say, no, 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 no more political violence, it's bad. We don't agree with any of this. While the other side is going, yes, we don't agree with this if it's happening to our people. But these far left lunatics are, you know, doing crazy shit. You need to judge them moods. I've thought that too, Dark, because like in my head I'm like, say I'm debating somebody and they're just like shouting over me. It's like, okay, obviously like the middleman judge should be like, okay, I'm just like muting one side, but at the same time, it's bad when one side's just allowed to like vomit, like basically like vomit out bullshit. Does that make sense? Because say you're like person A and person B are debating. Say there's a world. Person A, person B are debating. And person A, every time they have a chance to speak, is just like spewing bullshit. So every time person B speaks, they're like, okay, I need like 20 minutes just to go through point by point by point by point by point all the shit that was just said. So I feel like it's hard to like push the needle. Really changing. I 100% agree with that, Dark. This is all performative. But I think what you can take away from any performative thing is like, what's the messaging behind it, right? Because say there's like another like school shooting, for example, and there's like and you have Alex Jones, his performance is going to be, it's an inside job, it's the deep state, it's paid crisis actors. It's like, okay, it's performative, but like you can like through what he's saying, you're like, okay, let me build out what he's trying to like, what's his performance trying to say, and the other side's like, no, you're stupid, you know, what you're saying is like actually causing like tangible harm. But I mean, it's also entertainment.
Posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. In response to Alina Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags a half-mast in memory.
Wait.
Alina Haber.
The world is evil, but our Savior, our Lord, our God, He is so good. I will never have the words ever. The sound of this widow weeping echoes throughout this world like the sound of this widow weeping echoes throughout this world like a battle cry. I have no idea what any of this means, but baby, I know you do, and so does our Lord. They have no idea what they just ignited within this wife. They thought my husband was big now. You have no idea. All of you will never, ever forget my husband. I'll make sure of it. Okay, so just turning up political rhetoric, basically using husband's death. I mean, not this, for example, but just, I mean, Charlie Kirk's widow has used her husband's death to basically grift for the right, you know, calling for massive donations to political movements. So I think totally a fair target to mock as much as humanly possible.
Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags a half-mast in memory of Charlie.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you can understand like somebody like, okay, they're grieving, blah, blah, but the second you try to start like fundraising or you try to use whatever happened as like for political gain, it's just like you're just now into the like the line of like, okay, like all bets are off, like you have basically lowered these gates for this stuff. I totally agree.
You posted on X, buying
flags were ordered to be lowered by the President of the United States. Lower your flags. Buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. Like these are just like funny retorts. Sound like the opening to a 2012 literally like it's like you meet for your first D&D session, Dark, and you're like, okay, like what's your backstory? You're like, well, when I was 10 years old, both my parents were killed by goblins. And then when I was 15, my neighbor's goblins got them. Now that I'm 20, I'm going to kill every goddamn goblin in the world. The goblins have no idea what they just started. They made their own worst enemy. And it's like, oh, how are your stats? Be like, I rolled 8s and everything. I'm a wizard and I don't know how to cast a spell. I mage hand the goblin to death.
Flags and poles just to fly them fully erect.
By the way, this whole flags were ordered to be lowered by the President of the United States is some of the most disgusting like shit I've seen. Like, we're lowering our flags for a podcaster who was not involved in the political movement, while there are were sitting members of the political movement who were actually assassinated. Nobody gave a shit. It just seemed very like, just like, okay, we're just doing it for people that Trump likes. Is that how the flag works now? Is that what the flag represents? Like, is that what America represents? And we lower a fucking flag for just like people that unilaterally Trump likes or dislikes? Like, think about this. If Biden today were to died, would the flags be at half-mast? Probably, for like a day.
And you then posted yesterday, ending every conservative debate call out I do in 2026 with "Don't dodge, bro." That's not what Charlie would have wanted. I mean, do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Okay. Before I listen, has the response to a murder been appropriate? That shouldn't be the question being asked. McDonald's Trump like closes. Oh, 100%. If he can't get his McNugs, like if I can't get my 20-piece McNug, those flags better be like 3/4. The less nugs I get in a day, the flag lowers gradually, and it fluctuates. You know, the flag's just constantly like this as my McNug meter opens. So the question: Should this be the response to a cold-blooded murder? Obvious answer, no. But that's not what this is. This isn't, yeah. This isn't like about the response tweets weren't about Charlie Kirk got murdered and he's clowning on him. Like every single one of those tweets was responding to something else. That would be my response.
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward.
I watched a lot of. I was gonna watch the Patel thing on stream, but I watched like 3 hours of it, or listened to about 3.5 hours of it at work today. And it just felt like I don't want to like rewatch shit that I've watched, because I feel like that's like I feel like that's performative. Holy shit, can politicians never just answer a yes or no question? And it triggers the fuck out of me. Rip Charlie, yeah, dude, ripping pepperonis. Feels Brad. So it is nice to actually hear like a yes or no question. I guess that wasn't even a yes or no question, but just to hear
To
the
a
yes.
better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10
True.
years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down.
I agree with the last point. I do think there were mainstream people who did call for the temperature to go down, and they were pretty much ousted out of the Republican Party. You can look at examples like Mitch McConnell, the old, I think he was he the Speaker of the House, if I remember correctly? I feel like he was a run-of-the-mill neocon, like old school Republican, who during events like this would try to lower the temperature, and he was thoroughly ousted from the party. Yes, I kind of agree with the point. Like, the mainstream Republican movement right now just encourages violence. Like, just the political message from them is just violent. Like, crazy leftists, crazy left lunatics. Like, they're destroying our country. They're trying to destroy our country. Like, it just, I don't know. I mean, you can look at the January 6th speech Trump gave. And I like a lot of people try to, like, clip chimp that, in the sense that they take like 2 sentences where he's like walked in to the Capitol peacefully, and they'll say, oh, look, in this hour speech, there's 1 sentence among these thousands of sentences that say peacefully, and try to like plug that out. But like the rest of the rhetoric, like even the sentence, like they're trying to take your country, they're trying to destroy your country, like that is an incitement to violence. It's like, I love America, number 1 country in the world, thoroughly support it. If somebody were to say to me, like, these people over there are trying to destroy your country, immediate, like, those are like bounds to throw hands, right? Like, that's your country. That's the shit you represent and stand for. But, I mean, we can go over all the Jan 6 stuff at another time. That's going to be like I'll do like a mega Jan 6 stream at some point, because I feel like most people don't know how deep that evil runs in January 6th. Like, I really do think anybody coming into that without a political bias or leaning would come away going like, yeah, like that was a really, really bad situation that was directly caused by the president. And if anybody, by the way, has any disagreements with anything that I'm saying, hop into Discord, hop into the disagreements channel. I'll drag you up. The debate waiting room.
If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the 2nd term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this...
Don't necessarily know if 7 out of the 10 things necessitate to increases the calls to violence. Actually, let's look them up. Largest protests USA past 10 years. Let's see. What are they? Number 1, George Floyd protest. Like, number 2, Earth Day. Like, I feel like that's one that happened in 1970. The No Kings protest is number 3. Okay, so the George Floyd protest I don't think was necessarily about Trump specifically. No Kings obviously was. Hands Across America was before. The Women's March, that really went so well for all of them, unfortunately, as women's rights have just been slowly being stripped away in the country. Hands Off protest, directly caused by it, so that's 3 of 6. March for Our Lives, that's gun control, which I guess stems from like right-leaning organizations. We'll call that like 6.5. 2018 Women's March. Damn, the 2017 and 2018 are up there. There's a hashtag Ricky Renuka. Never heard of this before. In Puerto Rico, the Great American Boycott in 2006. I guess like half of them are kind of directly tied to it. I still think that's like a weak position to argue from.
Country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Grok about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
A guy from Utah who was raised in a Christian family, who was a 22-year-old
guy
white
described
dude. He wasn't
Destiny.
trans. He didn't have a trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans influences.
I think he did. It is confirmed, right, that his girlfriend was trans?
Trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys were wrong on all of that.
To be clear, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology.
Okay, so that is just bullshit. I watched pretty much everything that's come out so far about the shooter as of yesterday, so maybe new information came out today, but this is old, so they wouldn't have known any of that. I think all the information we have right now is his parents describe him as left, which is useless because what does that mean? Take, for instance, an example of a extreme MAGA household. If you are a neocon, you would be described as left, even though technically you are not left. You would literally just be like center-right. Or, for instance, you're in like a very like moderate household and somebody's like, yeah, like he's slightly left, but that could be slightly left from like, you know, a moderate. So I don't think any of that matters as far as what the parents have been saying. As far as I know, he did it. It seems he weirdly described his plans out of that one text, but it sounded like it was for like trans rights issues, which is that like a left? Oh, is that a left movement now? That I guess maybe, but I don't think he was radicalized by a left. To me, it gave me the impression reading those texts of a guy who was on the right who just fell in love with a trans girl and then got radicalized that way. The left is a lot of basic kind. Yeah, exactly. Like, no, I completely agree with you, Dark. That's why, like, when people say that, it's just like, that's meaningless. It doesn't mean, because it means different things to different people. I don't think we have any examples of his political leaning. If anything, he looks apolitical. Like, a lot of his texts look like a normie, right? Like, his Discord chat logs just kind of read like, I don't know. Everything reads weird, to be completely honest, but Superman movie was horrible, but I don't think it was woke. I just think it was a bad movie. I'll die on that hill.
Drove him to do this. That's just
I'm sorry, excuse me, when?
Yeah, thank you.
Yesterday, you said that.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college? Not
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know.
What you just said
I do
is
know the very.
How disingenuous is that shit too? Like, he was radicalized by it. I was like, when? Why? I don't know. He was just radicalized. It's just like, it's such fucking empty, meaningless bullshit to base an entire like platform attack from. Like, oh well, I mean, he was left. It's like, what does that mean? It means nothing. There's a complete difference too if he was like a groyper, far right groyper versus like MAGA versus like neocon on the right. On the left, he could be a liberal. He could be like a leftist. He could be like a run-of-the-mill Dem. It's like a million things. So I think like that entire thing is just like bullshit. I'm glad people are pushing back against that because I just see that regurgitated, like constantly regurgitated.
Reasonable sounding governor of Utah has made it clear that the you may not want to hear this.
Ongoing investigation.
You may not want to hear it, Destiny, but the reality is the investigators, according to the governor of Utah.
But that's also the thing. No matter what, this is the landing platform, right? For that, like, would anything have come? I guess the only other thing is like the guy who shot Trump turned out to be just like an apolitical like nut job, right? So like they just dropped that and just never talked about it again. So the only reason this guy's even still brought up because he's like maybe one like kind of left high, and that he thinks that trans people don't all deserve to be like that they're real. Is that like a left thing? I haven't seen anything, I guess, and I don't really trust our Department of Justice right now, considering Pam Bondi's running it, which is rough because I'm a big like institutionalist.
Have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder.
So we know, again, this could be foresight. Maybe that's what they're saying at the time. We do know this is wrong now. With the I read the indictment. Nothing in the indictment is establishing this, so this is just incorrect.
Charlie Kirk. Now let me just ask you.
That's just not true.
Let me just
There's
ask
no
you.
way
well,
to deal with it.
Okay,
You're living in
you're
a
accusing the
delusional
governor of
fantasy.
lying.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative.
I think Piers doesn't
But-
care about
but
anything other than views. Oh, 100%. Like this, he's just a grifter. But he's a right-wing grifter with two separate. You know, like he truly is right-wing, which is fine. But like he's also just like a grifter attached to that. Like this panel right here. So we have Destiny, who is a liberal, Anna Kasparian, who is a grifter, Jack Vasovic, who is a Russian plant. I always forget this fucker's name. Who leans right, like he's MAGA. So this is a 4-on-1 debate. Oh, it's literally in the title too. But yeah, this is like a 4-on-1 debate, which is weird. You would think that it would be two people, and like a more moderate hands-off.
If it turns out to have been somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
Dude, it feels so good to hear this because, like, I mean, this, to be fair, I have seen this clip before, and it's just like, has a guy second to the left done anything but give off stank face this whole debate? This guy? Well, he's probably just like staring at like a gun. That's like, there's like a KGB guy who's like, you do not talk Russian propaganda enough, we execute your whole family. But like this, I have seen this clip and I wholeheartedly agree with it. Why? Like, I've had a lot of these discussions in real life, and I bet a lot of you guys have had too, where you start to talk with somebody, and if somebody asks your political leaning, if you say left, you have to spend 5 minutes like saying like, oh, like I'm a Democrat, but this and this and this and this. You have to like put a bunch of stuff so you don't, because the second people hear the word left, they think you're a fucking nut job. They think you're like a lunatic who's trying to like bang kids. But then people can be like, oh yeah, MAGA, like, oh, Donald Trump, love him, with no like, they don't have to like put anything on it. And it's like, it's just, I'm just having enough. Like, it's gotten to a point where it's just like, fuck it. Like, why do I have to sit there and spend 20 minutes in every conversation disavowing every single violent event that's ever come from my side, while the other side doesn't believe that the violence even happened, like on January 6th, or just goes, that's weird. Or I never heard about it. I never heard of it. The classic. Donald Trump did this in real time. Hold up. Trump didn't know. In real time. Hold on, I'm finding this clip. New York Times. I just want the clip. I want the clip. I don't want the transcript. I want the transcript. Give me the clip. Give me the clip.
In retrospect, given...
So he's doing this in real time, right? In real time, going like, who never heard about it? Watch it.
all of the moving ways that this
I never
White
even
House
heard of any of the skate
has
games.
paid tribute to Charlie Kirk. Do you think it would have been fitting to lower the flags to half-staff when Melissa Hortman, the Minnesota House Speaker, was gunned down by an assassin as well?
I'm not familiar.
In real time. This is the sitting president of the United fucking States doing it in real time, going, never heard about it. Never heard. What is happening? What? Like, sitting president of the United States, by the way. Just pulling the classic debate tactic of, just never heard about it. Oh, never heard of that one. I never heard of any of the skate games. The last, I think, skate game I played was Tony Hawk Pro Skater back in like the PlayStation 2. Banging game.
So you won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk until Donald Trump says
Piers,
something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down.
Right.
Can you tell me why he cannot tell
would you
his
expect
side
anybody,
to calm down?
Destiny?
You can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why can't
can
Trump
you
go on
answer
TV
this
and say,
question?
all of us should be less violent?
Asking, by the way, this question, none of them will answer. I haven't seen this whole thing. I can guarantee not a single one of them will answer, or they're going to answer, oh yeah, he probably should, but you should too. I can't stand that line of thinking. Exactly, like, you know, yeah, we're lowering the flag to half-mast for a podcaster, but not for, like, people who, like, spend their lives trying to enrich the country through, like, political will. Even, like, people that I disagree with, it's like, fuck it. Like, you're a sitting member of Congress, Senate, either at the state level, the federal level, local level. Like, yes, those people are, like, putting their time and effort into trying to do something. Did I play Skate 3? No. But I can guarantee, or they're just going to pull the old, like, the tried and true classic of, like, yeah, like, oh, yeah, he probably should. But it's like, no, there's no but after that. There's no conversation to be had. And the way I think about this is that, like, political rhetoric, right? It needs to be done by both sides, because if only one side is constantly trying to turn down the temperature will not get turned down, and they're going to be the victims constantly. You might be too old. Actually true. I'm a boomer, dude. I'm 31. It's fucking rough. I tell you guys, like, I got Silk Song, the new Hollow Knight. I loved Hollow Knight. I tried to play it. I was just bored with it, like, immediately. And I was like, I think it's just like, am I just not a gamer anymore? Feels fucking bad. Granted, I do think Silk Song is just, like, way too slow. Dude, true, boomer. I'm just here for the hard-hitting facts. Austin. Oh, Austin, I got Tuck's place. I'll text you the deets for the wedding. How's it going, dude? But yeah, so I think about political rhetoric. Both sides need to turn it down simultaneously. Think about it like this. You're going to fight somebody, right? You're going to go in the ring, you're going to box somebody. And the day before, like, you know, it's like, oh, like, what are you going to say to your opponent? And the other guy goes, I'm going to bring a knife. And you're like, what? And there's like, yeah, no, like, I'm going to bring this knife and I'm going to stab you. And you're like, that's a little unhinged. And then the person turns to you like, are you going to bring a knife? And you're like, well, if he brings a knife, I'm going to bring a knife. They're like, well, you're going to bring a knife to a boxing match? You're a lunatic. And you're like, well, say it to him. And they're like, well, he is kind of a lunatic. But, like, are you going to bring that knife? And it's like, more mature games. I love Baldur's Gate 3. I was looking into the Expedition. Everyone was raving about the Expedition game. I watched like 10 minutes of gameplay. I don't generally like turn-based combat. Thought we were going to get them painted up. Yeah, with my tongue. But yeah, like, if you show up to a fist fight knowing the other side is showing up with a knife, and you just show up with your fist because you want to take the moral high ground, dope. You have the moral high ground, but you're gonna be cut the shit up and bleeding out on the ground. Like, both sides need to get rid of their weapons. If you're in a Mexican standoff, you know the two people pointing their guns and there's three of them, and they're like, okay, we all need to lower the temperature, and everyone's like, we all agree, and you lower your gun, the other two sides don't, you're just disarming yourself. Everyone has to lower, and that needs to start at the top. The President of the United States needs to begin that process of lowering the temperature. But instead, he is constantly increasing the temperature. And I agree with this point. Why should I spend 20 minutes cucking out and getting on my knees and begging for forgiveness for something that A, isn't even our fault, and B, well, the other side doesn't. So fuck it. Give me liberty and give me death, literally. Like,
Can't Trump say that?
Why do you
Why is
think
your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why do you
is
think?
your
No, let me
behavior
ask.
why is your behavior contingent on Donald Trump is actually a wild statement when it comes to if you were talking about like Pokemon card collecting and Donald Trump, he had this Dark Dragonite, and you're like, well, I only want it because he has it. Yeah, that's a good question. Why is your collecting habits contingent on that? But if we're talking about politics and political rhetoric, 100%, it needs to be contingent on the top. The tippity top needs to be a top-down approach. For once, trickle-down economics has that right idea. It needs to be a trickle-down effect. He's never non-agree. Exactly, Austin. He's always pushing it further and further. It's about times, honestly, that it's just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, can't say any competence, but just my hands so far up, it's coming out the other side. Literally, like, remember when he said he didn't even, like, read it, and then he's just doing everything? God, it's so fucking frustrating. But, like, I think what you're saying is we need a leader. I don't know if we need a specific leader. Like, Hakeem Jeffries, and some of the other, like, honestly, I wasn't a big AOC fan, but I've been liking a lot of her political moves in the past year or two. Like, they're making good moves, but we don't need a leader like Trump, because that's like bad, right? That's bad for a political movement, because once Trump's gone, like, the right's probably just going to infight and crumble. Like, the left's, you know, kind of conglomeration is good. The problem is we need to oust the outgroups. Guys, we're getting on paint. It's the time that I'm drawing in paint. So the right is over here. And in here you have like Reuters, you have MAGA, you have neocons, you have people who say that they're moderate, but they're secretly not moderate at all. You have people who hate gay people. You have racists. You have, you know, the people who hate women. And like, so this is the right? Like, you have these giant groups that all just, they form a bubble. This is the left. You have liberals. You have Democrats. And then you have over here, you have tankies, like Hassan Piker over here, who hate America and hate Democrats. So they're these people are fighting, right? This is fighting back and forth. They're fighting for political power. You have socialists and communists over here who are attacking. You just have, like, I would just say, like, yeah, you just have these outgroups on the left who are attacking the establishment of Dems, so they're constantly being attacked on all sides, while the other side has this giant conglomerate that will never criticize themselves. And if, say, this bubble right here was like, oh yeah, fuck Donald Trump, this bubble would get ousted the fuck out of this group and would never be allowed back in, while these bubbles over here are kind of in this, like, loose, like, they pretend, this is like the pretend bubble. They pretend that they're in this bubble, but they're not. They're actually attacking. Like, yeah, sure, they attack them a little bit. Like, yeah, they attack them a little bit. They attack them a little bit. But it's this. It's the attacking within ourselves. And that's why, like, right now we're in the position that we're in, is because the left needs to denounce this side. These two groups need to bond together and be like, fuck these people. They're not one of us. They don't stand for the same thing we stand for. Get the fuck out of our group. And they need to fight for some of these. They need to try to get them come over to here. Trump is a leader. Leaders aren't narcissists. True. Trump is, I 100% agree with that too. Trump is not a leader. He is a super ineffective leader. If you need to unilaterally push your policy positions through executive orders, you are not a leader. You are a fascist. Or a king, right? You're above. You're unilaterally, by yourself, having policy positions done, versus Biden, who had bipartisan legislation, such as the CHIPS Act, such as the COVID, like, reinvestment plan. Like, he had these bipartisan legislations that were passed because he had true leadership. Have their own set. Some of them think they're not bigoted. I mean, true. They're, like, I'm not saying that there isn't any infighting over here, but this infighting, at the end of the day, they'll team up and march against the left, right? The left doesn't. Like, look at the environment on Twitch. Hassan Piker, the largest political streamer on Twitch, hates Democrats, wouldn't openly support Kamala Harris. And he spends most of his, the streams, I used to watch him, like, years ago. The streams that I watch, it's like 50% shitting on Republicans, 50% shitting on Democrats. That's not being, like, even keeled. It's just, you kind of hate both parties, and you refuse to endorse one. I mean, speaking of actual grifters, Hassan. So, I think that is a problem right now within the Dems, that they need to oust those groups. They need to learn that the people who, like, within these groups don't actually vote for the same things, don't actually believe the same things. Because at the end of the day, like, America is just a loose group of, like, morals and values and ideals, right? The whole idea of America is that, like, we're a bunch of America, like, think of America as like a family, a bunch of people who, like, don't get along sometimes, so we yell and scream at the dinner table, but, like, if somebody comes and, like, fucks with any of them, like, everyone rallies up. But we're fractured right now because there's fragments within our own, you know, government, the Lord President, who hate that.
question.
on Donald Trump.
Let me
Why
ask
is
a
that?
question.
Because he's the president of the United
Yep,
States
literally,
of America,
yep, the exact
leader of
answer.
the
Yeah,
opposing
Destiny.
political party.
Destiny. Let me
You
just.
have a huge audience of young men who
I'm a
listen to
YouTuber.
everything
Yeah.
you have to say.
Dude, wait, did he? I like Anika's parents. Like, you're a YouTuber, which means you're influential, which means you have the exact same onus on you as the president of the United States to disavow political violence. When, again, I don't. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe he'll say differently, but I'm pretty sure the position right now is that not that political violence is good. It's like there should be no disavowing until it starts coming from the top. Because then, what's the point? What's the point? You're fighting on the back foot the entire time.
So when you, it doesn't matter. You have a huge audience. And
Ooh,
because of the
I'm
fact
down
that
for
you have a
Ligma.
huge audience, you have a responsibility
Thanks for swinging it
to
off.
not turn. No, it hasn't. It hasn't been broken. I actually care about the country and want to bring people together. You do the opposite. You represent the worst of us, Destiny. You're embarrassing.
You should tell
You're
Donald.
embarrassing.
All right, let me ask
Watch how
Destiny
easy
a
this is.
question.
Watch how easy this
No,
is.
hang on.
I like how they're just
Donald
yelling at
Trump
each other.
once, please.
If Donald Trump would have come out
Destiny,
and said, "Hey, we should all be less violent,"
Destiny,
I have no problem saying.
I have one
absolutely.
question for you,
Why
Destiny.
can't conservatives do
Okay,
that? Why can't
Destiny.
so it is the
conservatives do
exact
that?
same
Destiny,
position that
I have a
was just
question
saying.
for you. Why do you think in your campaign for everyone to dial down the temperature, why do you think that mocking the grieving widow of Charlie Kirk when she posts an image of her at the coffin side, why do you think that constitutes turning down the temperature?
See, okay, but that question in itself is it's a framing question, right? You're trying to like put this that this and this were in pockets, but like this is pushing a political ideology, asking for donations, trying to rally people within a political like movement. So yeah, 100%. It's
You can't turn down the temperature on your own. The president of the United
You
States is
inflame the
not
temperature.
able
You're
to
mocking
no,
his
it's
widow.
already inflamed.
You're
yeah.
mocking
I was
his
gonna say,
widow.
how do you
We've had
how can you
multiple
inflame?
political assassinations over the past year. What do you mean it's turning up the temperature?
What he should be bringing up right here, he could be bringing up any of the Nancy Pelosi's husband's tweets, either from Charlie Kirk or Don Jr. I know had one. Marjorie Taylor Greene had one. A few other people within the Senate had one. Trump had one 2 days before Charlie Kirk's assassination. All mocking it, all making it a joke, all literally being like, how's her husband's gay boyfriend doing now? And it's like, what the fuck? Like, this guy was literally attacked, and we're gonna mock it? Which, okay, if that's the precedent we're setting, you can't cry and piss and shit and moan when it happens back to you. It goes back to my theory that all Republicans are cry bullies. They will bully, and the second that anybody tries to attack them, they will piss and shit their pants and try to have some like moral high ground.
Why did you
Never
mock his
was
widow?
online because
Why
she's
did you
being
mock his
wielded
widow?
as because she's being used as a political weapon right now.
I don't even know if
Conservatives
used.
to continue.
She's using
What do you mean?
herself.
Wow, she's literally doing.
Her husband just got
recruitment ads
murdered.
on email. Yeah, and she's using it to drive up recruitment for
And
a
you
political
can't even
movement.
condemn the murder. You won't
The
condemn
president
it.
can't even tell his side
You're
to
so
turn the temperature
deranged
down.
about Trump that you
are
cannot condemn the
unhinged.
murder
It is such
because
a
you're
joke,
waiting
and
for
you guys
Donald
sit
Trump
here
to
and
say
make money
something.
off of it. It's
All right, let me bring
crazy
in
to me that
Jack.
Republicans can't
Let me
do
bring
it.
in Jack
What a joke of the
Posobiec.
world.
I gotta
And there
say,
will be there's still no answer to that question, Piers. You can't say
Which question?
Why can't Donald Trump
Oh,
simply
dear
go on
indeed,
TV and say we
Oliver.
all need to turn it down,
Fine.
like Biden could, like Obama could,
Fine.
like the
One at a time. Honestly, I wish all 5 of them were just yelling at each other. Honestly, I feel like this conversation has been over for the past 5 minutes. Because, I mean, the question was, why haven't you... The original question was, why haven't you condemned the political violence? The answer was, I'll condemn it when Donald Trump has condemned it. Why hasn't Donald Trump tried to turn down the rhetoric? And I've yet to hear a single answer for that, other than, again, just a bunch of moral grandstanding. So I kind of think that's honestly, it's a good rhetorical strategy. I think that if he spends the next 30 minutes doing the same strategy over and over again, I think that's fine. There are 3 are there. It's pretty much just Piers and Destiny speaking. Actually, true too. Again, this guy's just a Russian plant. I'm pretty sure this guy is just like, I'm just here. I thought this was a Denny's. How's it going, by the way, Ollie? Isn't Rhetoric being used by cops? Yes, it is. Which, again, I don't mind. Make jokes. I think jokes are fine. But if one side makes them and then cries and pisses and shits and moans about it, then...
Clinton's good, like Kamala could. Why
Fine.
not?
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie
it's
Kirk?
unbelievable. I'm not the president
Why
of the United
can't
States.
you
can't answer that
condemn
question.
the
It's
murder of Charlie
unbelievable.
Kirk?
Unbelievable to me.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because it wasn't my side that caused it. It should be the one that is driving up the rhetoric.
See, the cause, like, I like this saying caused it, not did it, but caused it, because one, they're just gonna say that the shooter was a leftist, even though I, again, don't think there's much evidence of that. I could be wrong. I would like, if anybody thinks I'm wrong, I would love to be shown some evidence. Because I read the indictment, I didn't read anything that particularly saw like, hey, I'm a leftist, I'm on the political left. Yeah, that cause, because I think Destiny's point here is that the environment that led to this is being espoused by the right, is being created by the right, you know? It's kind of like an incubator. It's like, if an egg comes out of an incubator, it's like, oh, like, who turned the temperature on? Who kept it warm if the egg gets, you know, overheated? It's like, well, one side keeps raising the temperature over and over again. Doesn't matter. If you go to a thermostat and somebody's just smashing the up button, and every now and then you like, no, I'm trying to turn it down. It's like, no, somebody has to stop trying to turn it up. The only way a temperature, you know, goes down is somebody stops trying to turn it up constantly.
It was your side that caused it. It was your side.
This guy was raised in a white Christian household.
He was a radicalized leftist ideology.
Radical, yeah. I just push him on this. I think this is before the indictment came out. Because right now it just should just be like, we can read the indictment. Where in the indictment is this being espoused with evidence to back it up?
Radicalized by leftism at all. You have no proof of that whatsoever.
That's what the investigators are saying.
Was a conservative, just like the people that firebombed Shapiro's house was a conservative, just like all the J6ers were conservative, just like the Proud Boys were conservative. Every single one of these.
Okay, this guy. Who's Destiny? He's a left-wing YouTuber slash, I guess, like, political activist. I don't know if he's... I don't think... I think he'd be more YouTuber, because I don't think he's, like, a political activist. This so this is a YouTuber. This is a YouTube... I think these are all 4 YouTubers, other than this guy. This guy's a Russian meat puppet. 25 years of marriage, 6 months of education, who went literally... Like, that point, too, is good. I'm confused about this. So Destiny goes, the guy who firebombed Josh Shapiro, by the way, my fucking governor, House, was a Republican. He says, no, he wasn't. He was pro-Palestinian. Did I miss the memo that came out that if you don't support Israel, that means that you're a leftist? Did I miss that? Did that, like, come out in any kind of history book? Because I'm pretty sure that the horseshoe theory would suggest that extreme right people like Candace Owens, like Reupers, hate Israel because they hate the Jews. So they'd be pro-Palestinian. But who knows? Could be crazy. Let's look into that. Josh Shapiro. Guy who firebombed him. Right or left. Give me ChatGPT. Tell me, AI. I read into this before. Let's see. Here's what we know about the suspect. Neighbor told was blah, blah, blah. I don't care about the crime. Reaction from the governor. Struggled with problems in his home life as well as issues covering from his own mortgage. Okay, so it sounds like he was in a bunch of financial troubles. Among his troubles, it grappled with protracted back and forth over foreclosure proceeding and allegations that he assaulted his then wife and child. Amid what he told police was his failed attempted suicide, where he's arrested and charged. Aggravated was already due in court this week from domestic assault. He was an auto mechanic. He at some point was the Army Reserves. He had no deployments. I don't even see any political leanings. Blah blah blah. He assaulted. Blah blah blah. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to like skim through this to see if there's anything. He had forgery. To an expression of disdain for politicians on both sides of the aisle. His pictures include selfies of small kids wearing costumes. Other posts include critiques of Trump and Biden, the latter of which he criticized for his age and economic policies. Needle flaming, be the light you want to see in this world. Okay, so maybe he's apolitical. So it sounds like Destiny is wrong here. Cody Palmer. not affiliated with any party from records with the state. He's a registered voter. Okay, wait. So yeah, it seems like this guy's apolitical. So it looks like both of these guys are wrong here. I think anti-Semitism is not ranked by the military industrial complex on the right's poll Glazer's tier list. It depends. Depends on what part of the right you're talking about, Dark. For some people it is, but for some people the anti-Semitism, like Groypers, for example, like that's a lot of their ideology is based into that. Like Candace Owens literally can't do anything other than if it involved Jews. So, which is tough. Rough one for her, right? So, I think Destiny's wrong here. It looks like Cody Bomber is, in fact, apolitical. As far as I could, I mean, I spent 2 minutes Googling it and read 2 articles.
Every single one of these people, oh, it's Jack Brzovic. What, the author of Unhuman? Another person that Charlie's supported? Good one, dude.
Well, I'll give you one last chance, Destiny, to condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Yes, you are acting like an unhuman.
Why can't I hear Donald Trump condemn violence in this
all right,
country?
you won't condemn it. Okay, we've all heard you repeatedly refuse to condemn it.
And we've heard Donald Trump refuse to condemn it too. But for some reason, the leftists on YouTube are a bigger deal. Unbelievable.
So I guess the point being made right here is that, like, okay, you can condemn me for doing this, but you should be condemning the sitting president 10 times as hard. Do you condemn it? Do I? 100%. How's it going, by the way, Alvin? My position is, I feel like the obvious, like, cucked position. Political violence is always bad. If the shooter did do it, like, he probably should just be capital punishment. But I also wholeheartedly agree with Destiny's overall point here. Why should I spend 20 minutes condemning it when the sitting president of the United States is turning the political rhetoric up and up and up and up and up and has been for 10 years? So there's no point. Like, I think that's the overall point right here is, like, why spend 10 minutes fighting? Because I wonder if this point gets made and he goes, oh, I do condemn it, if they would just move on, right? They would just move on from political rhetoric, and then, like, this wouldn't be talked about. And then, again, Republicans would never have to own any of their positions or their side. I really need to shoot that TikTok video. I wrote a script to do a TikTok video on, like, comment debate tactics and stuff. But it's just, I don't know. I'm too, like, much of a perfectionist. I've never done TikTok before. Like, I literally bought one of those, like, streamer black lights. Hold up. Let me know if you got 2 seconds. Tell me if you like this better. Like, does this look better for a watching experience for my beautiful face? Can your gooner brains even handle it? Like, does that look better for the lighting? Like, I literally bought one of those, like, fancy ring lights. Hurts my eyes. Hold up. Full screen. With it, I even bought a new webcam. Look how good the quality is. You guys can see all the Pokemon cards in the background and all of Kirsten's wedding stuff. I think it looks nicer, right? With or without the light? With the light? Without the light. Yeah, without the light, it is kind of dark. I can adjust it too for, like, I think it's better. Cool. But yeah, like, I'm just a perfectionist, and it's also hard too, because, like, right now I don't care. I'm just streaming the background be Pokemon, but I'm doing a TikTok. Like, I don't want that. I have a like, furnace room over there. I was debating on shooting at the furnace room, like, crouched down like a little goblin boy and, like, behind a furnace. I thought that might be, like, a funny take. But I don't know if that would, like, undermine a serious, like, political thing.
Yeah, what's incredible is you don't have the basic humanity to condemn it. You'd rather taunt his widow. I find that sickening. Jack Brzovic.
I find it sickening that when people are getting killed in the country, the President of the United States on Fox and Friends, when they're begging him, what do you say to your followers that want revenge? He says, I don't know, all the elections are rigged. It's the radical Democrats. That's insane to me. And
like, it's literally hard to say anything but, like, actually happened. He did go on. They did literally spend 5 minutes trying to, like, spoon feed him that. And he was just like, no. We need to turn this rhetoric up and blame the far left. Which, by the way, far left means anybody I disagree with. Goblin D's nuts. Got him.
And then the fixation is, well, who on Twitter and YouTube isn't condemning the violence?
All right, Jack Brzovic.
you have a great example here of the type of cancer.
This motherfucker should be put in prison for dare flying our fucking nation's flag in the background while he's pretty much just being ham-fisted by Russia, right? Like this should be like treason.
I'm talking about
crazy
where
Antifa
when you
lunatics. True.
Direct information.
You crazy
they
Antifa
refuse,
in Sweden.
They obfuscate. They refute. They say it's not true. They lie.
How's life, dude?
You could see from the bullet casings. You could see from postings. You could see from everything out there that you know it's very clear what happened here.
It's very clear what happened here from the bullet casings. Okay, explain to me, Jack. Notice his bulge. Ooh woo. What's that? How does that? What is that? Who's that dude? He's a Russian mouthpiece. Like I think he's like a podcaster, YouTuber, who just spouts like Russia Today bullshit. Sick? Feels bad. I feel like I'm getting sick. I wasn't gonna stream tonight, but I want to build up streaming again. So I need to be streaming almost every night, like at least an hour or two. It's just one. I've talked about this before, that it's hard to stream when you're like a smaller streamer every day consistently, because it's mentally taxing when like chat's not moving and you're just like talking to yourself. Sometimes it's a little rough. If you're playing a video game, it's easier to distract yourself, because I want to move more into politics and like political discussions. It's really fucking hard. I did it last night. I think I had like for 30 minutes. Granted, last night I just wasn't feeling it. I like had a headache. But it's just difficult. And one of the reasons I want to move into this is because I like Twitch a lot, right? Like I streamed on Twitch. I've streamed on Twitch for fucking over 10 years. Isn't that shit crazy? Streamed on it when it was Justin TV. And the political landscape on Twitch is just fucking awful. You have Asmongold, who I don't think has ever read a goddamn book in his life. And then Hassan Piker, who just is an open terrorist supporter. Like, openly supports Hamas, the Houthis, hates America. Like, literally, it's just a camp, like a, yeah. Dan Clancy, oh, dude, I am so excited. Just haul him up there and just show him these clips. Like, why wasn't this guy banned? 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 But it's fine. It's just really frustrating, because I feel like I'm not middle ground either. I think the right has an insanely good alternative media platform to dispense their messaging, while the left does not, because the left is fractured. Most of the big leftist streamers just all infight, you know? So I want like I'm a Democrat, tried and true Democrat, believe in Democrats. Go to like my local meetings, like try to help out. And I just don't see a lot of that support going on right now within the Twitch organization, so I want to change that. I also want to yell at people, so anybody who disagrees with me getting my stream or getting the Discord, I'll yell at you.
Same people who supported President Trump almost getting assassinated twice last year. Corey Kapatory being assassinated last year in a situation. Again, see, just lies. That's all they do.
This is my problem. Look at their backgrounds. Like, this is a really clean background, to be honest. I don't really get the fake brick wall cut, but like American flag, solid like neutral background, like neutral color. Like, okay, bright light, you got a little plant, like looks nice. My background, just Pokemon shit. Which I love, don't get me wrong. I also want to get into Pokemon vending, so I literally just have stacks and stacks of cards over here. Shit's crazy.
Dude, they talk over, they don't even let you give a chance
Look
to
at this,
speak.
wait. Boom, look at that. I even have a second camera over here now for showing off cards. I don't know if anybody cares about Pokemon. Look at this bad boy. I think I'm gonna get this graded. Ooh, if this tens. Ooh, wait, if this tens. New Pokemon game next month. I'm so excited for ZA. Card cam is clean. Thank you. I spent a long time streaming without like actually putting time and effort into like adjusting things, and I'm really trying to like do this differently now. I think I'm gonna take off for ZA. I'm debating on streaming it. I think I can stream it from this computer. I also have some One Piece cards. I don't know shit about One Piece. If anybody's interested in that, if anybody likes Pokemon, let me know. I can talk more about that at some point.
And something needs to be done, Piers. Something absolutely needs to be done. This ideology should be shamed, humiliated.
Okay, okay, isn't this guy actively doing it? Have you set up capture card yet? I had one on my old computer.
last submission, I think you just submitted based on wanting tens.
Yeah.
Not actually.
No, I agree. My last PSA submission was fucked. My last computer, I had a capture card for the Switch, so I figured it's easy to transfer it over. I have no idea if it is or not, so for all I know, I'm wrong.
Driven from the public discourse.
Oh no, like what this guy's saying is pretty much like exactly what I feel like Destiny's point is. Like these people are just turning up the rhetoric as this guy's like anybody should be driven out from the public discourse and blah 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 blah. And it's just like, oh, so we're literally doing exactly what we're saying is gonna happen. He's driving the temperature up.
I mean, you've got people who have completely dissociated with humanity because all they care about are clicks and YouTube streams and likes.
Okay, cool. Now, if this is a one-on-one debate, it would literally be Jova right here, right? You'd be like, oh, cool. Name one Democrat politician who's done this. I'll wait. And then you just sit there and you just eat a bag of chips as he just refuses to answer that question. Be like, oh, a Republican one? Donald Trump. Joe Biden. True. Joe Biden is such an interesting example. Think about what Republicans think about Joe Biden. They think he's mentally old, dementia-ridden, didn't know how the government worked, couldn't get at it, probably couldn't change his own pants, right? But at the same time they thought all those things about him, they also thought that he was a master manipulator, ran the deep state, behind anything, evil, and it's just like, wait, these things don't fit together. Like he can't be like dementia-ridden but running the deep state at the same time. Or it's like, oh, he's just a puppet. It's like, well, then wouldn't you feel bad for him if he's like old and being like abused? But yeah, again, logic is
go to the casket, go to the gravesite, go talk to the widow. You know, I don't even know how to discuss.
Go talk to the widow. I can't. She's 30 Fox interviews lined up, and she's just sitting there trying to take donations. So can't. Sorry, she's too busy politically campaigning while her husband's still warm.
This with someone who's completely lost all touch with reality.
Yeah, I mean, Anna.
What's Jack's answer to why can't the president say we should all be less violent?
Keep asking the same question.
Because you can't even condemn the cold.
Joe Biden's actually a BPD baddie that's an evil mastermind. Joe Biden would be a big titty goth girl if he was a girl, wouldn't he? He'd be Jugs McGlugs. I'd vote for that. Honestly, get me a goth baddie on the ticket. It's done. It's actually Jover. Matter of fact, the actual politician got murdered in June. Yeah. Oh, Alban, you missed it. We already talked about that. That the watching in real time what happened with Trump when he was like, when they asked him, they're like, oh, why didn't you lower the flag for the Democratic politician who got assassinated? And he goes, who? Never heard of him. In real time, you got the classic, oh, never heard of it response. It's like, oh my God. Literally, it's just like Seath plus Cope, right?
Because I can. Donald Trump turns on Destiny.
I don't think you're in the
YouTube,
position to demand anything from anybody
on YouTube. That's how I'm gonna.
This is a bad point by Destiny because he probably does. Because Donald Trump does watch all these people. He does watch Fox News. He calls into Fox News. He is Fox News hosts in his cabinet positions. So we do know that all he does is consume media. So, new phone, who dis? Ooh, true. Gotta love special people. Gotta love the fact that they can vote. Feels bad.
Take my
not actually feels bad. I'm just saying that feels bad at the ballot box.
Really? To condemn anybody for anything. You won't condemn a cold-blooded murder.
He's the president of the United States. He's the president of the United States. No one here can answer that question.
Basic humanity says the murder was horrific. Why can't you say it?
To be less violent.
Why can't you say it, Destiny?
For over a decade.
To say the murder was horrific and unacceptable.
Why can't Donald Trump say it?
You can't do it.
I like how Piers is just going to keep asking the same question while refusing to answer any of them. And Destiny's refusal to answer it is because this response is his answer, right? The response is, I'm not going to do it if nobody here will at least admit, yeah, the fact he's not doing it is really fucking bad and is significantly worse than you not doing it.
Any words for Donald Trump?
All right, Anna Kasparin.
Donald Trump? Nothing exactly.
Anna Kasparin. To me, this is what I'm talking about. That I think.
Okay, can we take a bet? How long until she's a Fox News host? She's gonna be a Fox News correspondent, where she'll go on there as the leftist and get yelled at, and then she'll be the why I left she'll come out of the video that's like why I left the left and turned to the right, and then in I'd say 3 years she's going to be a Fox News host. She'll probably have a cabinet position at that point, right? If everybody hasn't died of polio by that point, she'll have like 8 cabinet positions.
There is an element of the left, the hard woke left, that have completely lost their mind.
Hard woke left. Just define, please. Thank you.
If you are not able to just outright simply condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk, and if you cannot stop yourself from mocking his grieving widow,
she's not grieving.
As I've just seen from Destiny.
She's literally not.
The sick thing is weaponizing a widow's grief to try to do recruitment for your political party. That's probably one of the most disgusting things.
Literally, yes. Like, that is the disgusting thing, right? It's not mocking somebody who's grieving. It's using that grief to further your political movement, which she's doing. In 2 weeks about that, send Trump's voice.
She's showing up in emails for recruitment drives for TPUSA.
What would you expect? I would expect somebody, say I'm running for Senate, right? And I'm like, Twitch TV/Utathme in every single school. Everybody should be subbed, and if they're not, they're summarily executed. And then somebody assassinates Kirsten. My first thought isn't going to be like, guys, I feel so bad that my fiance was just assassinated. And because I feel bad, I need all your Pokemon cards. I need them sent to my home address. I need your best Pokemon cards. We need them. God told me, give me your Pokemon cards. That wouldn't be a reasonable, that wouldn't be grieving, right? Real grief would either be, granted, people grieve in different ways to an extent. I don't like how people just, no matter what people do, they go, everybody grieves differently. It's like, kind of, but not really. It'd be like, okay, like, sadness, shying away from the media, maybe making 1 or 2 public statements and be like, hey, like, I'm gonna back off. Or it would be extreme anger. I could totally see somebody coming out and be like, I'm gonna find this guy, I'm gonna fucking tear his head off. We do have a higher standard of the president? We do. Ben Shapiro, actually in a talk with Destiny, when Trump was running for president, literally said, I hold him to a different curve. Like, basically that he grades Trump on a different curve than what he grades everybody else because he knows he's an impotent child. Like, the president... Ooh, I dropped Pokemon... Guys, I dropped Pokemon cards. Mayday. Mayday. The president of the United States should be held to the highest possible standard, right? That should be, like, the creme de la creme standard for Americans. Should be the president of the United States. Everybody else should be held to a standard. Rip PSA 10 Zard. I wish, dude. I do need to get these card sleeves to send out the PSA, but the new set comes out next week, so I'm waiting on the new set release in case I hit anything big.
Assassination of a political figure would do. What did you think the outcome was going to be? What did you think the outcome was? And by the way,
are you asking me for the pragmatic political outcome, or are you asking me for...
Hey, how about take it easy on the Adderall? Take it easy on the Adderall.
So she gets cornered on a question and then just immediately goes, oh. Whenever happened to someone I can have a beer with voting crowd, literally, I mean, they're gone. Remember how I was talking before about, like, America to me is like a family, that you can have debates and discussions and yell and scream, but, like, at the end of the day, if somebody comes and, like, fucks with one of you, you know that they're, like, ride or die, right? That was, like, old neocons. Like, I disagree with a lot of their political positions, but, like, I understand where they're coming from. They're, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like, they could be ride or die. This new group, the MAGA, they're not. I'm telling you, if Putin right now said, Donald Trump, I will cease my invasion of Ukraine and give back all the territory that I stole from another sovereign country. In exchange, you have to let me come into your country and kill every single far lefty. Donald Trump would be like, done and done. Honestly, you can still fight for Ukraine, but I'll let the second one happen. It's like, it's just sad. I want to smoke a J with Bernie Sanders. Dude, true. Big J smoke. I'm not even a Bernie bro. I liked Biden at the time I liked Bernie over Biden, but as my political ideology has evolved, I've kind of liked Biden more. I think Bernie's just bad at getting a lot of people behind him, other than a lot of, like, the established Dems behind him, which you need to push your political ideology. Actually, I don't agree with some of his more like socialist ideology either. I shouldn't say socialist, more of his social safety nets, because I agree with strong social safety nets, but I like Bernie. He's a very good spokesperson for Dems. Granted, he's an independent, which is bad, but whatever.
And let me answer the question that Piers asked me.
You must have been really bullied today, I
my
guess.
behavior,
Let Anna speak, please.
My behavior is not reliant on how anyone else behaves. Every morning.
That is an untrue fact. If you claim my behavior isn't reliant on anybody else's behavior, you just don't live in a society, right? If I go to a Starbucks and I'm in line, somebody cuts in front of me. Okay, I'm kind of a bitch. I won't say anything. Somebody else cuts in front of me. Okay, somebody else cuts in front of me. Maybe like, okay, hold the fuck up. I've been in this line for 10 minutes. I'm gonna start cutting in line, or I'm gonna react to the actions happening to me. You wouldn't just stand there like an asshole for 3 hours as people just walk in front of you. Well, cutting in line's wrong, so I'll just stand here patient. I'll stand here patiently until you stop cutting. That's what's happening right now in the country. This is what Anna Kasparian wants. She wants to stand there and go, stop cutting in line, please, but I'm not going to do anything about it because I think cutting a line is wrong, as people are cutting in front of her over and over and over and over again. Free healthcare equals socialism? Dude, I can't literally stand those attacks when, for years, people are the right conflates socialism and communism, even though they're completely different, and just conflates like any social safety net. Any social safety net is socialist. He's true to his word though and stays on point. I agree with that. 100% agree. He believes in his ideals, which I fucking rep. Kind of line the Swedes attacking. Oh my god, the Swedes are coming. All 8 of them. Remember that time I was in Sweden? I was in Sweden, Norway, and Finland. There's like a lake that like a frozen lake I was on that like you walk and you just like walk between the 3 countries. It's kind of cool.
Morning, I wake up and I make decisions about how I choose to react or respond to things.
Okay, that's called being a human being.
I don't wake up in the morning, check what Donald Trump has to say, and then base my own personal behavior on his behavior.
Okay, I agree to that to an extent, but if Donald Trump woke up and said some crazy unhinged shit like I'm revoking all U.S. citizenship for lefties, you're not going to base your behavior on that behavior? Of course you would. You would go to the streets and march because you're under attack. Like, of course you would base your behavior on outside behavior. Like, that is a ridiculous statement to make.
I agree with you in that it would be very helpful to have the leader of this country.
It would be helpful. Yeah, it would be helpful. No, it's a necessity. It is necessary for everything. She knows she has a cult following. She knows he has a cult following, right? Who? Trump? Oh, yeah. No, she's trying, she's from the Young Turks, but she's trying to get that right-wing grift going. So Finland is fairly far away by car. But yeah, I thought Swedish people could like jump really far. Couldn't you just like bound over there? Like 2 quick bounds? You definitely told me that at one point. You definitely said, I can bound real far.
Want to turn the temperature down. And he hasn't done that. I agree with you on that. But that doesn't change the way I choose to respond to what's going
Probably
on.
Should,
the
right? Probably should when the president of the fucking
country
country is doing something that you should react to that.
With 2 young children who witnessed her husband get shot in the neck and bleed out to death.
And
how could you mock that? What is wrong?
Because her reaction to it is unhinged. Because her reaction to that event happening was to try to get political donations. Of course you mock that. I know what Anna's saying. She's why I stopped watching TYT. Oh my god, I couldn't stand like 80% of TYT. Like old TYT maybe, but like Jank is comedic. Like he's definitely like a comedic person. Like he's an entertaining person to watch. But like so many of his policy positions are just like yelling and screaming. All of his like Israel-Palestine positions I feel like are just boring. And it says when I came from on a sheet of ice. That's actually kind of cool. My ancestry is so boring. I'm like literally British. I think I'm like British, Irish, Ashkenazi Jew, Polish Jew, and Russian Jew. It's like, that's just so boring. Boring ancestry. Literally just took all the whitest people possible and made me.
With you. I just don't understand it. That's it. I don't understand it. I don't understand you, Destiny. You have so much hatred in your heart, and at the same time, you
it's such a simple thing. If you're going to weaponize somebody's grief against the other party, well, then of course people have a right to fight back against.
Very well phrased, very well put. What's the response?
I think that she has every right to grieve in whatever way she wants, but when that grief is going to be weaponized to do recruitment...
The left must hate you? True! I have two of my closest friends. They're actually, you're going to meet them, Austin. They're in the wedding party. Love them. Real fucking smart people. But they are conspiracy theorists, like, through and through. We have good debates about it. Yeah, big hoss. Who are we rooting for, guys? What team are we on? I'm not on anybody's team. I'm not gonna lie, I like Destiny. Like, I do watch his content. But, I mean, I think he's made two wrong claims so far. I think the biggest one that I'm confused about is making the claim that the guy who firebombed Josh Shapiro is a Republican. Because, again, I read two articles, but it seemed apolitical. Foot in the mouth over trans people existing, literally. Okay, Dark, I'm gonna be serious with you. Conservatives want trans people to exist, right? I really don't think the conservatives hold hate in their heart for trans people. They want to fuck them so bad. So bad. They just want that girl dick. Oh my God, that's all they think about every day and night. Every waking thought in their head is just like, I need a big, sloppy girl dick. Oh my God, that's... They hate them. It's like, you know, who's somebody who hates gay people but secretly they're closeted. It's like the only thing I can think of. Like, just ask like a person who hates like trans people, be like, oh, the 2022 NCAA women's 500-yard freestyle, who won that? And when they answer, be like, oh, how about 2021, 2023, 2024, 2020? Do you care about any of it? No. All they want is just some yummy girl dick.
Political recruitment and further radicalization of the other side, then of course you not only have the ability to mock it, I think you have the obligation to mock it. It's insane.
True. Agreed.
Let me understand.
Big agree.
So since others are using her grief to
No, she is doing it. She is using fake grief to push it. She's not, other people aren't capitalizing on it. She is.
Politically recruit. You think that it's okay to mock her specifically?
Since others are using her grief, she's the one who gave a 17-minute speech.
Literally just lay up. I mean, you get people with honestly good ideas, like, to being trans, all good, but then there are always people taking it too far. Well, I agree with that too, Ollie. Like, there are people who, like, take it way too far. Like, I personally, I don't know if trans people should be allowed to play in women's sports. I'm, like, torn on it. Because on one hand, it's like, who fucking cares? But on the other hand, like, at a certain level, like, maybe at, like, the collegiate level or, like, high school, it's, like, competitive integrity. Because at the end of the day, it's, like, male puberty does have effects as far as, like, testosterone. So I'm kind of torn on that. And then I think anybody who says, like, oh, anybody who thinks the opposite is just, like, transphobic, it's like, okay, that just, like, literally undermines the whole meaning. And blowing it up for something else. I think a lot of messaging is like that. Like, think of the Black Lives Matter movement, how everyone focused on the small fraction of people who were rioting without talking about the actual, like, messaging behind it, you know? Where it's like, a small group of people can ruin it for everybody. But I totally agree with you there. And it's tough too, because, like, but that's kind of what I'm saying with a lot of this, right? Where whenever you talk about American politics, I feel like so much of the time you have to try to distance yourself when you're on the left from that small, like, not actually small, that minority of the left who are fucking crazy communists, anti-Semitism. Like, you just spend 20 minutes, like, disavowing all this random shit. And then you're like, okay, like, can you do that on the right? They're like, no, I'm cool with all of that, actually. Based on trans... Dude. Why would anybody, literally anybody, care about it? Like, there's probably, like, honestly, to be honest, Alvin, there's probably, like, 10 people in the country who probably care enough to make that, like, the one issue voter. There's probably, like, 10 people in the country who, like, truly care about it that much. Everybody else is performative, and, yeah. Anytime you hear anybody go, like, I'm actually a moderate, or I'm in the middle of the parties, you know, I'm not a Republican or a conservative. What they're saying is, secretly, I'm a conservative, but I don't want that label on me. Estrogen HR kills a lot of muscle. You're on testosterone. This should only 3 months. No, I agree with you too. Like, I agree with that, Dark. what was that one report that came out in Europe? I read like half of it. It was really interesting, actually. I can't say that I'm an expert on any of this stuff. Far from it. Riley Gaines. Yep. That was the 2022, right? 2022 NCAA 500-yard freestyle. Weird that I know that, right? But that's like my thing is like, where do you draw the line? But then also you have to account for, there are like people who are biologically female who produce more testosterone. Should they be allowed in women's sports? I really don't know the answer to that. Like, for example, take Michael Phelps swimming, right? He's like biologically a freak of nature. Like his hands are like slightly larger than normal. His legs are longer than normal. It's like he's the perfect swimming specimen. Should that be allowed? Like, I guess like but like it's kind of unfair, you know? So it's just like, I think it's a more nuanced conversation. All play sports all the time, they're all trans, well, we know something's up. No, I agree with that too, Ollie. Where it's like, I don't think it's an actual like issue, you know? It's like literally like 1 or 2 swimming events, like one, like, and then people like pretend to give a shit. And then everyone makes a joke like, a big bodybuilder is just gonna pretend to be a curl and go into boxing. It's like that clearly isn't gonna happen. Like, and if it does happen, like that's clearly a misuse of the system. So yeah, I can't, again, like I'm torn on it just because of the more like biological aspect of like testosterone and some of the puberty stuff. But on the same token, like I totally like understand why from a social and like a social perspective you would, because then what other like group do you play in? It's the same like way I think like Michael Phelps, for example, like who else is he gonna swim against? I guess like he just wins all the swimming events ever. But like what else are you gonna do? Some people are just built differently. Like me, if I was in any sport, I'd win automatically. I'm just letting the other guys have it. Ignore the fact that I don't have legs.
On TV where she talked about good versus evil. She's the one showing up in
Destiny,
TPUSA ads to 1 or 2 days after.
If someone assassinated my husband, I would not be able to have the level of composure she had during that speech.
So shouldn't that mean something? It's like, wow, she was weirdly composed while doing this political messaging. As in the topic is up is Diogenes holding up a plucked chicken to Plato, but it's a little woman because the definition is becoming arbitrary if you're bringing it down to hormones. Oh my god, yeah. The whole like what is a man, what is a woman is the biggest semantical black hole, because when people try to like reduce it down to like it's just XX, it's just XY, the next logical question would be, what about XXY, what about XYY? There are certain chromosomal mutations where somebody might just have one, like X, and then like part of another gamete. I think it's been a while since I took bio. Like there are those, like where do you categorize those? What do you categorize about people? There are examples of people being born XY, which is male, but the Y chromosome is just turned off, so they don't produce any of the male like hormones, so they're female and they can bear children. Same with XXY. They're examples of the Y chromosome being turned off.
Because if the mother doesn't produce androgen, you don't develop male sex organs in utero, so you're born as a female.
Yeah, what Kirsten just said about androgen. So yeah, there's just like so much like that where it's just like, okay, so clearly that line of thinking with, that's why I like the somebody at work was just trying to meme about this and I was so fucking pissed about it because I'm just like, shut up. But I was at work so I couldn't say anything. It was like, there's biological male and female, which is XX, XY, and then like the other categories are just kind of like an ambiguous one. And then there's social categories for male and female, which introduce a million things. It's how you present, some of the social things that you do. Like I speak femininely. I don't like masculine things. I like collecting Pokemon cards and I like Pokemon plushes. Like it's more feminine. Does that make me a female? No, but there's a lot of different like social stipulations with stuff. So again, I just think it's a semantical black hole. Anybody who tries to bring that up in an argument is just, it's not even like, I immediately write that person off as just like they don't want to actually have like an actual discussion. I feel like very rarely does somebody like truly want to have that discussion. Zatoth woman confirmed. True. If I was a woman, all I would be doing is just touching my own boobs 24/7. I basically wouldn't have hands. It'd be a good time.
I would be out for blood. I understand why she's angry and why she's
being out for blood and trying to use your grief as like a weaponization for political funding, not the same thing. Dog, you be on OnlyFans in a heartbeat? I'm already on OnlyFans. Actually, though. No, so I have a friend who's an OnlyFan. He's a male on OnlyFans, and he makes 6 figures a year. And I just think, how many people have OnlyFans and have spread their assholes and have like done insane stuff for like $5? I've had probably like 1 subscriber, and like now all of that's out there. It's crazy. Doing what? Oh yeah, he just does soft dick. He does like nudes, but just he doesn't do any like porn. It's just he'll like get out of the shower, quick little naked pic, done for the day. This is why they hate trans people, and I should dig into the question of what I was taught to, or I had one bad experience that threatened my self-identity. Literally, like, actually dark. I mean, yeah, most of it just boils down to, like, well, because they're trying to trans the kids, and it's like, oh. Or they'll be like, I'm just trying to protect the children. It's like, what about the Epstein files? Whatever happened to those? We gonna ever talk about, we ever gonna bring the conversation back to the Epstein files? Nope. Oh, okay. So we don't care. Cool. Love it. Patel was asked about that today. Forget the lady from Washington was talking about it. I think she was screeching a little bit at the end, but she's like, "Yeah, are you gonna interview the Epstein victims that went to the White House?" And then he just pivoted the conversation. Democrat hoax. The Epstein files are simultaneously a Democrat hoax while being non-existent, while being actually not that big of a deal because there's no actual names on it. Like, all 3 of these things can exist at the same time, but they believe all 3 of these things simultaneously.
Things that she said. Okay, you need to understand what being a human is, what it's like to actually lose someone that you love, that you chose to spend your life with, that you chose to raise children with, a person who was violently and viciously assassinated like that.
Who's about voting for free school lunch and billing the 2 trans kids in the whole school? True. I mean, how many more studies have to come out and show that the suicide rate of trans, you guys know what the #1 thing that we can change as a society to decrease suicide rates in trans youth or trans identifying youth? Hint, it's social acceptance from both the parents and their social groups. That's not even like that just makes sense. You think about it, you're like, oh, yep, I guess that makes sense. Acceptance, literally, yep. Ding, 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 20 points to Gryffindor. But nobody actually, again, remember, they don't actually give a flying fuck about these kids. The more dead kids, the more graves they can grandstand on. I know I made this joke last time about that one kid during Trump's State of the Union, that he was just grandstanding on this kid who had like brain cancer, and the kid came up and was like, Biden was the worst person ever. I love Republicans. And it's just like, how fucking low do you have to go to like, do you go to like the cancer ward at a hospital and you're like, okay, which one of you fuckers hates Democrats? And they're all like one kid raised their hands like, get him, bring him up here. Like they rip him away. It's like, it's fucking crazy. Don't go insane too late.
This is why I've moved away
and when
from
something
identifying as a
you got bullied online. It's so funny. It's so funny that you just said that you don't think about how other people act to define your behavior. Your entire political ideology now is somehow defined by the people that were mean to you on Twitter.
No,
if somebody cares about somebody who's grieving,
I understood
then you tell that
what
person,
the flaws on the left happen to be. The weakness in their arguments. No, it's not about the way I get treated. I get treated like crap from both sides of the political aisle.
You do mass recruitment for our political party while everyone over here is calling for civil war. It's unhinged.
True.
When you've got people like Matt Walsh in the Daily Wire, the
we're
president
talking to a guy who said he'd be okay with his
I
own
think
parents
honestly
getting
though,
killed if they went.
It should just be all about the president. Who the fuck cares about what any of these other, like, granted, people do because they are very, very large platforms that are espousing this like absolute fucking horse shit. But yeah, it's just so fucking frustrating. Jesus Christ. How much more can I take?
To that
How do
Trump
we
rally where
reach
that
these-
assassination
Yeah, we're
attack
talking
happened.
to a
There's
woman
no
who went
reasoning
on and
with
did
you,
the whole
Destiny.
conservative media
There's
outlet with
there's
Tucker
no
Carlson
reasoning
and
with
Glenn
you.
Beck and had
Okay.
nothing bad
Yeah.
to say whatsoever. I know where
Okay,
you're
can we please? I know. I feel like every stream I talk about Carlson. Holy fuck! Why is he? He was just in the White House. Tucker Carlson in our fucking White House. This Russian stooge who was purposefully lying at Fox News. We know that through his leak, through the text from the Dominion lawsuit. Went to Russia, was just doing Russian propaganda, and then is now doing a weird 9/11 truth video. If I have to hear one more fucking time about the truth behind 9/11, I'm gonna lose it. The truth about the 8th tower. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. We need to take all these people and we need to shoot them directly into the dome that they believe exists over the flat Earth.
That is about it. I know where
And
you're
it was
making your money
great. I
from.
had
Okay, that's
awesome
great.
conversations.
And you
I
do
don't
with the
regret it
I
at
know,
all.
that's great.
I also had
Awesome you cannot have an awesome conversation with if you have a conversation with Tucker Carlson that isn't immediately contentious and you don't just escalate that conversation every single word and just being like, I'm not going to continue until we answer a few of these questions. Like, how much money did Russia pay you? How much money did Russia pay you? How much money did Russia pay you? Then that's not a conversation. Then you're literally curtailing.
Conversation
You're
with Jack
bowing down.
Soviet on her take. It was awesome.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Jack,
what
the guy over there that gets
democracy is about.
paid by
Having an
Russia that lies
exchange of
about every other
ideas.
day.
No, it
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah.
I
All
don't.
right, let me bring in.
Truly, I don't think democracy is about an exchange of ideas. It can be, but there's certain ideas that are poisonous to democracy that if you allow into a democratic system, they will rot it from the inside out. Look at where we are now. We're literally rotting from the inside out because these actual cancerous ideas are being espoused.
Right.
Let me
I
bring
don't
in.
agree with him on everything, but at
Still,
least we
to
can
this
have
day.
dialogue.
Anna,
No one
Anna,
out
you're
here can
completely
call all
right,
that
by the
dialogue.
way.
Sure is
Anna
something
is
right now.
completely
Charlie,
right.
didn't it?
And the irony of Charlie Kirk is that he led
No,
the
this is
way
Charlie Kirk, that's
in
his
going
name.
in to debate
wait, no,
with
this is
people
Char-
who hated him.
Not Charlie
and he would
Kirk.
try
No,
and
he
have
didn't.
respectful
Charlie Kirk
dialogue.
beat
What's
up
his
all
name?
college students.
Unlike
That's all
you,
he did.
Destiny.
Also
Let's be
true.
Let me
real.
bring
Like
Andrew
me,
Wilson
I'm
in.
here
So do
arguing.
you.
I'm
Andrew
not- yeah.
Wilson, that's this guy's name. Yeah, I don't like this whole idea that Charlie Kirk was like, he believed so much in his ideas he would fight with anybody. It's like, yeah, he would fight with anybody who's like in their formative years at a college that isn't like press savvy, but whatever. I mean, pretty much everybody does that, right? Truly a master debater, true. I'm surprised he didn't start going to preschools. Be like, bring up somebody who hasn't learned like words yet. She just like grumbles. Just makes like weird like bah, 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 bah.
Bring in
so
Andrew
do you.
Wilson.
So do you. You beat up on college students. You go on a college tour.
Charlie
You're going on a
Kirk is
college
trying to
tour
hold
right
higher
now
level
to
debates,
beat
and you
up
guys
on
know that.
college students.
Charlie Kirk is trying to hold higher level debates. Can I get an example? No? Cool. Shut the fuck up. You also go to colleges, okay? I don't think the problem is that going to colleges. The problem is going to colleges and claim that you're some, upholder of moral, justice and the greatest debater and willing to debate anybody.
What are you talking about, Destiny? That's what you're doing right this second, is going on a college tour to go beat up on college students. By the way, can I just ask you a question?
I don't
yes or no?
exclusively beat up on college.
Can you actually answer? Can you actually answer? Hang on, calm down. I just got one question. I got one question for you, and I want you to actually answer it. Are you glad Charlie Kirk is dead?
No, I don't think anybody in this country should be dying to political violence. It's insane. The past 5 years in this country has been crazy. But the reality is, until conservatives
So then why did you say to your co-host that Trump deserved the bullet? Why did you?
How are these two things equivocal at all? It's like, yeah, I don't think Charlie Kirk should die. Nobody should die to political violence. Then why'd you say this? Oh, now we're living in clips. It's Israel-Palestine brain. He's living in clips. He's living in quotes.
Tell him that.
To say, until conservatives have to say, hey, we all need to be less violent, there's no purpose in Democrats doing it, because every time Democrats disavow, you further entrench your guys' delusional beliefs that all the violence is coming on the left. Donald Trump can go on TV, he can say, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. They can go on Parler and say, we heard you. They can go to the Capitol and break in and try to insurrect. They can get convicted in front of a jury, and then Donald Trump can pardon them, and we can come out and
Convicted of a conspicuous conspiracy? Conspicuous conspiracy? What was it called? Rule, blah, blah, blah. Let's read. Just a court, national embarrassment, blah, blah, blah. What was he charged with? It's conspicuous conspiracy? Is that the word? Charge. It's annoying when I forget these words. It's conspicuous conspiracy? Why is the Australian Broadcast Network? Seditious conspiracy. That's why I was like, that doesn't sound right. Seditious conspiracy. Conspicuous, seditious. Trump 2028. True. See, this is a good example of a brain dead, anti-American, doesn't think for himself. Trump 2028. Good meme. Your mom 2028. We're going to add a new amendment that I have to personally torque every new president. So your mom, we're paving the way. MAGA. True.
Go, hey guys, why are
Seditious
Democrats justifying violence?
conspiracy.
Pretend that the
I'm
problem's
pretty
coming
sure
from the left.
that charge too, was that the first time that charge has ever stuck and somebody's been convicted of it? Seditious conspiracy. How many people ever charged? How many people have ever been charged for it? At least 96 people have been charged in the United States since 98. So it looks like an Egyptian cleric in 1995 and 9 followers were convicted for plotting to bomb several New York City landmarks. White supremacists in 88. The Rhetoric. I haven't even heard some of these. Okay, so it looks like I was totally wrong. There have been a lot of different times that people have been charged with seditious conspiracy. Doesn't look like there have been too many, but okay. It's good to know. Democrats are violent. True. Name me one Democratic politician who is continuing to espouse violent rhetoric. I will wait. Hint, I can name one Republican one. Hint, the president, who is.
Democrats do a disservice to this country by disavowing violence constantly when the president of the United States
Let me respond quickly.
and say all of us need to be less violent.
True,
How
true.
easy
So
would that
the
be?
thing is, why did you say to your co-host
keep
that
focusing on me.
Yeah, I was to say this is the clip chimping, like living in clips or living in quotes. I really don't like. You can tell somebody's knowledge of history or their knowledge of a subject if they just live in quotes. If somebody goes out and says like, "Hey, I believe that in 1940." Hitler was a radical communist, and you're like, okay, like why do you think that? They're like, oh well, he said like at one time and like one of his appearances, he said that like communism isn't too bad. Like then you read and it's like, okay, maybe he, like that sentence is true, but there's this like whole other thing in that speech. You're like, okay, I have all this other evidence supporting this, and they're like, well, no, he said it this one time though. It's so frustrating. Omar, let's look. Omar. What is her last name? It's official. Let's look. Ilhan Omar. Comments. Charlie Kirk. Let's see. Looks like they want to censure her for her things. 2 House committees said Omar. Who she criticized Kirk's views of gun ownership, race relations in the aftermath. The drones should be deported to home countries. Somalia boosters is what Republican House of Representatives intense violence, assassination. What did she say? I'm seeing that she's trying to get censured. What did she say to deserve the censure? Blah 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 blah. Where's her? I assume she tweeted it. Where's her tweet? Where's a Mace? What is her comment on this? I can't stand articles that just like literally spend 20% of the time just like talking about some random shit. Just show me your tweet. Yeah, because in an interview with British broadcaster Mehdi Hassan the day after Kirk shooting, Omar was empathetic and said the assassination was mortifying. All I can think about is wife and children. My heart breaks for those babies. Okay. But Omar criticized those who said Kirk was a champion of civil debate, saying Kirk's divisive comments about gun violence, slavery, and killing of George Floyd belie this. So wait, where's any of her violent rhetoric? Am I missing it? Can I have evidence of this violent rhetoric? Because the more I'm looking, it looks like they just didn't like the fact that she was shit-talking Kirk. Violent rhetoric would be going like, no, we need revenge for this. This wasn't the left. Like, the right is evil and like constantly doing this and trying to destroy our country. We need to like do something about this, like a call to action, right? It sounds like she was just shit-talking Charlie Kirk while saying the assassination was mortifying, which sounds like she's walking back political violent rhetoric. Looks like they tried to censure her for that. Omar said Kirk had defended gun rights and was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd, saying it was effed up. Okay, is that censurable? With the recent assassinations, that's whatever. Yeah, okay. So TLDR, I can't find a single goddamn example of it.
The bullet was for Trump. Why did you say to your co-host that the best place for the bullet was Trump? Why did you say that?
Why did Donald Trump call
It's a whataboutism. Whataboutism. I'm asking you a question. I can't be whataboutism if it's my question, Destiny.
Why won't Donald Trump
answer the question?
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this?
Every example I've seen of Andrew Wilson has in like debates or any like podcast or YouTube appearances or videos has been this, where I feel like he bogs down the entire conversation in like quotes or things like, oh, why did you say X? Or you're saying, you know, X now, but previously in this like one podcast you said like this one quote of Y. And it's just like, I feel like living in quotes or living in snippets of like history or to get somebody's opinion is just bad, right? Like you have to look at the whole of what they're saying. You have to look at like, obviously context is important. Granted, I also think that saying the word context is some of the grossest shit humanly possible. Take, for instance, some of the shit Charlie Kirk had said about black women. People will scream context. But, I mean, you could, instead of screaming that, just be like, yeah, like, that was pretty fucked up that he said that. But maybe he didn't mean it and give an example of, like, oh, like, this was a fucked up thing that he said. But he said this, and this here to, like, undermine, like, him actually, like, believing that. Screeching context is bad if there's, like, if say somebody says something and you're like, oh, the context, you have to read the paragraph before. But if the context is like, oh, you have to watch like 8 additional hours of bullshit, it's like, that's not context.
Why don't we do this before I cut mics?
Because you don't care.
Destiny,
you don't care that Kirk's dead.
Destiny, allow Andrew to repeat his question and let him ask the question, then you answer it, okay? Andrew.
No, I want to hear the other side first.
Let him ask the question.
Yeah, I was just saying, I feel like that is...
Let him ask the question.
This is actually like a forum.
Destiny,
the moderator of this debate is...
told his co-host, when asked point
a little
blank
biased.
if he wanted the bullet to kill Trump, that the worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing. He said this to Pisco. I watched it, okay? This guy's an obfuscation machine. And you know what else, Destiny?
Is that
why should
the
we believe
question?
you? I think you are glad Kirk is dead. And all of your tweets seem to prove that. And you would have been happy if Trump was assassinated. You've made that very clear. So why not just be truthful for once in your life and say the truth, that you don't care that Kirk is dead, and you're actually probably glad he is. Isn't that really what's true?
I mean, to be fair, I would say almost everybody in this panel is grifting as hard as they humanly can off of this.
Whoa.
I don't want anybody in this country to die to political violence. I don't think in the United States of America that should be happening. I don't know why it's so hard for the president to say the same. I think it'd be the easiest thing in the world as a president. Biden did it for 4 years.
Sounds
why
like
everything
a
was way cooler when
fairly
he was here. Like
easy to follow
temperature.
logic train there.
The Clintons have no problem saying it. Barack Obama has no problem saying it. Kamala Harris has come out and said it. Every Democratic lawmaker and leader has basically come out and said it. But for some reason on the Republican side, it's just civil war, civil war, civil war. And the Republican president of the United States, who has presided over more violence politically in this country, more large protests than any president in all of U.S. history, for some reason can't bring himself to say, all of us need to calm down. And
So
until
did
that
Trump
happens,
deserve
there's no
the
reason for
bullet?
anyone to love to say it.
Did Trump
This is-
deserve
well,
the
yeah,
bullet?
This is all you care about are the political hit jobs.
Just
It's
answer
actually
the
insane
question,
to me.
bro.
Yeah,
Did
no one
Trump
answers
deserve
questions.
the bullet?
Did Donald
Did
Trump
he deserve the
disavow-
bullet?
Okay, I think this is enough of this for one night. I'm gonna log off. I will try to be back on tomorrow. I will be away this weekend, so I will not be streaming. Again, I'll try at some point to work on like short form content and like TikToks and like YouTube shorts, but I'm like, I don't know. I just don't want to like fuck it up. So I'm like a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'll work on that. I think the next stream we might be doing the Pokemon card grading, but I might do that off stream. It's gonna be hard because I use a magnifying glass, like when I'm looking at like grading cards, like look at edges and stuff. So, but we'll get there. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight.